Hello family and welcome new viewers. In this video, a sister in Christ had a dream regarding the Great Tribulation which she wanted to share with other believers worldwide like yourself. Please share if you ever had a dream like this in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Hi friends. So I know everybody's timeline right now is the rapture and the end times, and people hating on those talking about the rapture and the end times. I'm just here to add to that fire, I guess, because I fully believe it is something that we should be talking about. I'm just gonna say this: if it angers you, if it annoys you, bothers you, or scares you, that's probably a good indicator that you should take a step back and reevaluate where you are at with Christ. But I'm not here to yell at you. I'm not here to scare you. I really just want to share a prophetic dream that God gave me because he gave me a huge aha moment with it. And I am just, like, my brain is just, I've been stewing on this for days. And I was waiting for the right time to drop this, but I'm just gonna post it, and if it reaches people, cool. If not, oh well. But I had this dream. I've had two in my life. That's four. I've had two in my life. One was when I was 12 or 13, and that one was about like everything being on fire. You know, fire was raining from the sky, the moon was red as blood, and it was just torture and just not good stuff. I don't remember much of that dream, thankfully, but the most recent one I had was in 2019. I was living in Chicago. To get into the dream, I'm walking around this school, and it's in like crumbling down. It's been through war, like it had been bombed, and it's just dark and dirty and cold, like it's just in ruin, basically. But I'm walking through these rooms, and in each room are just people huddled together of different religions, races, ages, just huddled together, praying and crying out for God, like the one and only God. And we go out into this big room, I'm assuming the gym, and there's a school bus, and I get yanked on top of the school bus, and they're like, you gotta lead these people, you gotta lead these people. And I'm just like, who am I to lead these people? I don't know what we're doing. I'm not a leader. And I'm like, you know, stressing out. But then it hits me like crazy. Like, it hits me, I'm just instantly like in Xena warrior princess mode, and I'm getting all these people on the bus, and I'm like, I know where we need to go. We got to get to the mountains. We got to get to the mountains. Hold on to that. So I get everybody on the bus, and then I'm like cutscene to some bleachers in a different room, and I'm looking down at my little sister and my grandma holding hands. They're gone in a flash. And in the dream, even then, I was like, oh, the rapture just happened. Wait a minute, why the heck was I left behind? And before I can like stress out about all of that, I'm cutscene back to being on the bus, and I'm with somebody that I grew up going to church with. I was friends with him and his brother growing up because his dad was my pastor. Still don't know why he was in my dream. I've had no contact with this man in I don't know how many years. Maybe God will reveal that to me later, but whatever. But he has a walkie-talkie, and we're trying to get a hold of his little brother, and then that's all I remember. I do remember waking up and writing down stuff, and I think it was dates or locations or something crazy, I don't know, but I have never done that before with a dream. I have never written anything down. Unfortunately, I lost that notebook with the stuff in it in a move, so I couldn't tell you what's in it. I don't remember, unfortunately. But fast forward, actually, sorry, I'm all over the place. I firstly knew this was God because my grandma got sick a week, I think, after I had this dream, and she ended up passing away. And I believe God gave me that part of the dream to warn me and to give me time to get home to go spend time with her before she passed. And I was able to spend her entire last week with her. And I'm very grateful for that. But fast forward to the other night, I'm leaving the bakery. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm super tired. My back hurts. I'm chilling in the car for a second, scrolling on TikTok. And I come across this dude, and he's talking about the Marine Kingdom, which is Satan's domain, where he thrives with his demons and, all this stuff. It's very interesting. I highly suggest looking into it because it will lead into Starbucks and a bunch of different things. But I'm scrolling through the comments and I'm seeing, Jesus, that walked on water to show dominion, stuff like that. And I see this one comment, it instantly sticks out to me, and it said, why do you think Jesus said flee to the mountains? And I'm just like, hold up, God. Because my mind instantly whipped back to my dream that I had because I'm like, mountains, fleeing to the mountains. Like, I made that connection. Mind you, I had swept this dream under the rug pretty much for the past 6 years because it's just had no relevance to my life. And it's like, I'd think about it every once in a while. I've only told a couple people about it. And every time I explain it to them, I always say, like, I still don't understand why I was getting to the mountains. I just know we had to get to the mountains. Well, fast forward to me doing this little research, and I come across 3 separate times where it talks about fleeing to the mountains in the tribulation. Matthew 24:16, Mark 13:3, and Luke 21:25. I lied. 21:21. It talks about fleeing to the mountains. And fleeing to the mountains physically is a point of safety for God's people. And spiritually, it means strength, stability, and seeking God. And I was just like, whoa. Like, that makes so much sense of why we had to get to the mountains in this dream. And it was the tribulation, which is when this is supposed to take place. And I'm still in awe of just how God makes these connections. Because I had this dream 6 years ago. And I've always wondered, and I've never come across this in reading the Word. So it was just a really cool little revelation that I came across. Now, the leadership part, me being a leader, I still don't understand that because I am not a leader of any sort. I don't have that kind of personality. I'm not. But it got me thinking, I've not come across it yet in the Word, but if anybody else has, please inform me and I will look into it. But I would imagine that there will be a select few of God's chosen people to not go up in the rapture, and they will be left behind on purpose to help lead those left behind to Christ. And it's kind of terrifying to think about. I would do it. But can I at least have a cool sword or something? I don't know. If I gotta be stuck down here, if I'm not allowed to go up with everybody else, which would be my luck, you gotta give me something, But I'm gonna look into that because I found that part very intriguing and I have questions. And also something I came across for you to think about in your noggin. Luke 21:25 says, there will be strange signs in the sun, moon, and stars, and here on earth the nations will be in turmoil, perplexed by the roaring seas and strange tides. People will be terrified at what they see coming upon the earth, for the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Y'all, what did they just tell us is heading for Earth right now? A giant alien spaceship. What are aliens? They are demons. I'm just saying, I was like, God, I'm just freaking out over here. But y'all can hate all you want on the people trying to talk about this stuff. It's in the Bible. It's happening right now. It needs to be talked about, whether you like it or not. Take it up with God if you don't like it. People need to be ready. it's happening. I don't know. It was just wild.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never failed me all my days.